Hey crafters, it's Leo with Dreaming Tree, and today we're building our Hallway Hero locker box. It's a clever little gift box shaped just like a school locker. I have the prototype here in front of me. It's all one color, it's okay. It opens up to reveal a decent sized compartment with adjustable shelves, perfect for small treats, fun stationery, candy bars, or smaller sized school supplies. And yes, a standard gift card or cash will fit inside, making it a great way to tuck in a little surprise for your favorite student or teacher. We've also included a handful of cuttable stickers so you can customize it for your recipients. Now, obviously, there is a world of content out there that you can print and cut to customize this piece even further. So be sure to have fun with that. Let's get started. So the first thing you'll notice, well, maybe not the first thing, but one of the things you'll notice is that, well, we're putting foam core in this piece because we wanted to make it super sturdy. Hopefully, maybe your student will love it so much that they'll actually keep it in their locker or, I don't know, wherever. Anyway, in your download are a series of these little templates, okay? You can see here, there's a T with a Roman, well, kind of a Roman numeral. This is the number 4. It's 4 dashes in the shape of a square or circle. You're gonna need to cut out 4 of these. Okay, now I've already done this off camera because I've done this so many times that I don't think I need to show you. But basically you use this template, and I typically will start on a straight edge so I don't have to cut more than I need to. And you literally just draw around the template. And in this case, you're gonna make 4 of these. That's a 4. Okay, so you're gonna need 4 of these. I have them here. Okay, so once that one's done, go to the next one. There's an S and a 2, a Roman numeral 2. You're gonna need 2 of these. These are for the shelves that go inside of our little locker, and I cut out 2 of them. Okay, so on and on, you get the idea here. Here's another one with a Roman numeral 2. We're gonna do 2 of these. This is for the back, okay? And then we have this one's 6. So you're gonna need 6 of these. That's a 4, 5, 6. So you're gonna need 6 of these. I have those all right here, okay? So make sure you cut out your foam core. You can try to make this without the foam core, but it's not going to be as sturdy. You can tell this thing is hard as a rock, which is exactly how we wanted it. So, and then aside from that, we have, these are panels, okay? They don't have any score marks or folds or anything. And all we're really gonna be doing here is creating a series of boxes. If you ever made the toolbox for Father's Day that we've had in the past, this is very similar. We're gonna construct a bunch of boxes and then form them into the shape, cover them up with the panels, and voila, okay? Now, another thing that I want to point out is in your extras folder, there is a series of various stickers. We wanted to give you the ability to customize this for your recipient. And there are, I don't know, maybe a dozen or so different stickers. I'm not going to show you how to assemble them all because they're usually about 2, maybe 3 layers, and the assembly is pretty self-explanatory. But for mine, I kind of customized it for myself, and why not? I did a peace sign because I'm a deadhead, and I did a bowling ball because I'm a decent bowler, and I did some shades because I think they look cool, even though I don't wear them often because I can never find them or I lose them. So have fun picking out the little stickers. And what I may also do is a little follow-up video to show you how to maybe use some elements from Creative Fabrica to do a print to cut for other types of stickers, which you can then just do a print and cut and either glue or foam square them. I'm gonna end up foam squaring mine. There's also a little paper airplane. I thought that was cool. That's the one. That's another one that I'm gonna use on mine. Okay, and you get the idea. Well, we're gonna do a little bit of paper piecing before we get into the actual assembly of the locker. There's a little handle and a lock that we're going to put together. Again, very simple paper piecing type stuff. We created a three-dimensional little lock. This is the little guy here that would usually have a number on it. For those of you that have the ability to maybe do some etching, you can do that. We just kept it blank, although you could also, if you happen to know your recipient's locker number, you could even customize it with that. But unless you were there during the locker launch, chances are you probably don't know that, and that's okay. All right, so let's put the little lock together real quick because we're going to need that. And we're going to start by gluing the two black lock-shaped pieces together first, just to kind of make it nice and thick, because we're ultimately going to put this on the handle, and you'll never be able to remove it because, well, as cool as we are, we did not make this lock functional. Next, we're going to take the largest of the two blue pieces, and that's going to go on first, right onto the black shadow layer here on our lock. We're going to follow that up with the smaller, lighter blue, and you want to get that centered so that a little bit of that darker blue still remains as sort of a border around it. And then we have a white piece. This is the actual little lock portion, or the combination part of it. That's going to go flush onto this black piece, which will then get glued centered on the previous two circles. Okay, so we'll just flip that around. Mine is a tiny bit off. That's okay. And pop that right there. Make sure you got a little bit of that blue, that lighter blue showing. And then you could finish that off with a little pearl or something right in the center to kind of mimic the little handle part of it. Speaking of handles, there is a handle. Okay, and what you'll notice is that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces like this, and then there's 2 pieces that have little score marks. Now these score marks, we're going to use these to, well, anchor this to the door. But what we need to do first is, and do not put glue on the little tabs. Okay, so you can see that there's tabs on those. Do not put any glue on those yet. What we're going to do is we're going to take these 2 pieces that have the tabs, and we're going to sandwich them back to back, like so. Make sure you get those lined up accurately so that you can actually fold the tabs flat. Make sure that they sit right on top of each other. But then make sure that you do not glue them together. You want to leave them like that. Okay, and then to thicken this up, we're going to kind of pad this and add 3 layers onto each side of the handle to make it nice and thick. Again, do not glue any of the additional handle pieces onto the tabs. We need those guys to be loose. And I'm going to just kind of go back and forth so I don't mess up here. I'll do one on one side, one on the other, and just go back and forth until we have all of these in place. It's gonna, instead of trying to create an actual like 3D handle and have you form paper that small, we opted to just layer it to kind of give that illusion of dimension and depth rather than having you try to, you'd go nuts trying to put something this small together with tabs and teeth and so on and so forth. So this works just fine. Okay, we'll flip it over to the other side. We got a couple more to go. Here we go. And then we're just going to be building some boxes, really. Not that hard. Okay, one more on this side, one more on the other side. There are also a few little details for the front of the locker, which we can also eliminate and put in place now. It's not going to hurt anything if we do it now. Okay. Yeah, it's a new thing, I guess. You guys are probably familiar with it, but When I went to school, we never, well, maybe we did have them. I don't know. I never went. Something called a locker launch, where you actually get to go. Well, maybe I did do that in high school. I don't remember. It's been a while. Graduated in 2000, so who the heck knows? All right. So there's our handle, nice and thick. And the tabs are still just kind of independent there. And let's take a look. You'll see what I mean here. This is the front door here. And what we're going to do is we're going to slide these through and connect them. But we're not going to do that quite yet. Not quite yet. One other thing that we should do now, while everything's still good and flat, is take these little detail pieces. These are the little vents, I guess, to, I don't know, probably because all the boys put their stinky socks in there, and I don't know, maybe if they didn't air it out, it would maybe breed some sort of marvel creature or something. I'm not sure. There's a reason for it, though. And of course, there are little markers there to help you with the placement. So take advantage of those and just be very sparse with the glue here and spread it thin so that you don't get it all over the place as you're applying this to its final destination. Okay, a few more to go. Are you serious, dude?
I take a little nap anytime you say goodbye.
Again, this piece is rather small, doesn't require a lot of glue. So don't waste your time, and also don't blemish your project. We were going to make this 3D, but I didn't, based on the size, I didn't think it was worth it. And I think this does the trick. Yeah, we were actually just going to cut it out as well, but I like this dimension. I think that looks nice. Plus, I want to challenge you guys a little bit. Keep that dexterity tip-top. There we go. And we'll see how straight you can get yours. And I'm looking at the stickers that I picked, and I think they're all right. And the colors that we recommended certain colors for each sticker, but obviously that's the fun part of this. You can make it your own and pick whatever you'd like. Totally up to you. All right, so I'm putting the last one down here. And I think I did a pretty good job. And you can see how that looks real. Looks cool, okay? All right, so let's put that off to the side with the rest of the panels. We have our template done. And let's build some boxes, okay? So these are the little inserts for the shelves, okay? And that's literally what we're gonna do. We're just gonna build some boxes like this. And I'm almost wondering, I haven't really ever cut corners like this before, but I don't know that it really matters if you glue those little triangular tabs, only because we have the foam core inside to sort of stabilize it anyway. Okay, so since this is just a shelf, I'm gonna just try it, and maybe it'll save us some time. It's nice that it's there because it kind of cleans up the little corners, but I know those little triangles sometimes are tedious, and I don't know structurally if it really matters, but it does kind of close them up and make them look nicer. So let's give it a shot, and if I don't like it, I'll just go back to the original method. That's really the only downfall, is that if they're not glued, they get in the way, and they can potentially kind of slow down the assembly. But again, like I said, I don't think we're gonna need them. Okay, I'm just gonna go around here. Got a little residue on my finger, and of course, it's all blemished now. Yeah, see, that worked just fine. Maybe on the larger ones, we might want to still utilize those little triangular tabs, but I feel like for this guy here, it's really not necessary. And I didn't get enough glue on that little section, so. Okay, if you're not comfortable skipping those little triangles, I will show you how to do it with them. It's not that hard. There we go. You just want to kind of tuck that in. Just make sure all the edges are nice and lined up. And it's beautiful because we have that foam core inside, so you've got something to push down on, which makes it so much easier to get a good end result when you're making these little boxes. Okay, so 2 down. Got that one there. Just has a little bit of a gap that I'm going to clean up. Come on, buddy. And that's another reason why I swap these out regularly. After I use them once, they're kind of not as stiff. And that's what you need. You need a nice, crisp, stiff piece of paper to get in between very thin little cracks like that. Okay, so there's a little bit of a gap there too, but that's fine. All right, so 2 down. And we got all these cool little stickers done as well. The handle's done. All right, let's move on to the next. Let's do the top and the bottom. Okay, now the bottom, you'll notice, is a lot thicker. Okay, for the top and bottom, we have a total of 6 of these. 4 of them, actually, are going to go on the bottom. 2 are going to go on the top. Now, with this bottom one, I think we're probably better off actually forming it with the triangles, which I'm going to do. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to start by applying glue to this little triangle here. And most of this, if not all of it, will ultimately be covered up with panels. So if you do happen to have a malfunction with your glue and it kind of gets all over the place, never fear. We have panels to cover it up, but this is good practice just to make sure that you do everything correctly. Okay, so there we go. We'll go over to this side now. And feel free to move sections out of the way to make room for your nozzle, to make room for your fingers, whatever you want to do to make it comfortable during your assembly. Okay, so we're going to line that up, press it in place, and do yourself a favor and go easy on the glue here. Less is more. You don't want to spend an eternity waiting for things to dry, unless that's your jam, but not my jam. There we go, line that up. And we're basically creating a box. Okay, and that leaves one more in here. And this is where the little scrap pieces of paper actually come in handy too in tight little spots like this. You can kind of use it to spread that glue around as well. If it's hard for you to get your finger in there, by all means, you should utilize that. Okay, we'll press that in place, and boy, am I starting to get arthritis maybe? Jeez. Okay, all right, so next we'll take and flare these out like so, just to make it easier for us to take these 4 and pop them in there. I'm gonna start by just putting a little bit of glue in here just to anchor that first layer, and just keep layering. I don't think you need a ton of glue, just enough for it to stick. Once it dries, it ain't going anywhere. All right, so there's your 4th layer. Okay, now we can fold this in. It's pretty much perfect. And we measure everything with calipers to make sure that we have just the right height for the paper. And we'll go ahead and apply glue to the 3 tabs. We're gonna play this game today, huh? The almost running out of glue game. That's a fun one. All right, we'll spread that out nice and thin. And again, this is all going to be hidden with panels, but still. All right, we'll close this up. Just bring it over and connect it here. Try to pull it out all the way to the very edge. And then the sides should just kind of naturally fall into place. You can rub your finger like so against the corner there. Press that down. There we go. Cool. All right, 3 down. So that's the bottom, like that. Okay. All right, we got our shelves, we got our bottom. Let's put the top together. Yeah, and with this one here, I have a feeling that we are just gonna end up using the triangles. This one is probably a little bit too big and too thick not to. I'm just worried that we'll end up with something wonky if we don't use the triangles. So let's just keep it conservative and traditional and do it the way we've always done it. I'm gonna fold this back so that I can get my finger in there better. Okay, just grabbing those tabs, gluing them together, creating a dimensional box. Everyone I've showed this to has had great reactions to this entire bundle. I know, back to school isn't for everybody, but chances are you know someone, you've got a grandson, granddaughter, niece, nephew, somebody, and you want to get into the craft room, create something fun and memorable. I think this one's a winner. Well, I jumped the gun on that side there. You can see it pulled away. So you don't want to do that. And it also helps as you're prepping yourself and getting all these pieces ready to go, it also helps to really, really fold everything beforehand. And that essentially will relieve some of the tension that's created with these folds. And it will prevent things like this from happening where the paper wants to pull away. It's this seam here that has that tension that kind of pulled it away. The glue just wasn't enough to hold it in place, or it wasn't dry enough, I should say. Okay, you can see it's kind of pulling away over there too, but that's fine. It's good enough for us to insert our foam core and get this glued down. Say as long as 40% of it is holding on, we're in good shape. Okay, so we're going to take the other little piece that fits in here, get that glued down, grab layer 2, pop that in place, and just like before, fold the tabs over. Let's get our glue going and we'll close it up. So we have our top and our bottom. We need to make 2 sides and a back, and then we're gonna basically, it's almost gonna be like we're woodworkers kinda, but old school without, boy, I don't even know the terminology. I'm not gonna pretend that I do. There's certain types of ways to connect pieces of wood. I don't know how that works. All right, so go ahead and close this up, pull it back all the way so it's nice and flush with the front. If you have to kind of nudge the sides in a little bit, totally normal. One thing to look out for here, just based on experience, is when you're cutting your templates, if you cut the templates with like an X-Acto knife or whatever, and you don't cut it straight down, you cut it at an angle, well then obviously that foam core is going to come out a little angled and it may make things a little wonky. So just want to make sure you try to cut it as straight as possible. Okay, so bottom, top, shelves, and let's move on to the next one. Okay, so this is one of the sides, and I'm going to fold this back a little bit, just so that there's less tension there as I'm gluing this down. I'll move that out of the way. Let's start there. Let's start with this guy here. Okay, thin that out, make it nice and thin. Pull that back. Press that into place, make sure it's nice and straight. So I think of the 3 projects in this new bundle, this one's probably, obviously, going to take the longest, but of course, that's expected. It's a little more involved, but I'm going to try to get this one done in less than an hour. I think that's doable. All right, so nothing's really changed here as far as the workflow of getting this connected. We're simply gluing our tabs to the adjacent walls, forming a box, adding our foam core, closing it up, And rinse and repeat until we have all of the structural pieces. And then it's just a matter of prettying it up later, which I'll show you. Okay, so last one here. Bring that in, hold it in place. Okay, so right now we have 2 larger ones left and 4 smaller ones. Obviously the smaller ones are going to be for the sides. The 2 larger ones are going to be for the back. So let's fold these out of the way. Hopefully my glue is dry enough. Okay, we'll grab 2 of these. Start the first one here. Pop that in. That's pretty snug, that's okay. And the next one. And then close it up, just as we've been doing. Okay, and just like we've been doing, just gonna keep on cruising here. And when we're dealing with more surface area like this, it's okay to go a little heavier on the glue because you don't want it to dry out on you prematurely. You want ample time to get that glue spread. I'm curious, leave me a comment. Do you spread your glue like this, or do you just put it on and then just let it do its thing? I always spread it. It's just how I've always been doing it. It just seems like it's more precise. Okay, there we go. That looks good there. That looks good there. Tuck that in. There we go. And you got a little glue on there, but again, this is all going to be covered up for the most part. Okay. Yeah, I'm curious to know if you guys use that technique. All right, so that one's done. Let's do one more side piece and then we'll do the back. And again, helps to kind of fold this stuff and get it loosened up. Now we did include a solid scoreline version of this, all the pieces, but I prefer when making structural things like this to use perforated. Just is a lot easier to work with in my opinion, but you're welcome to use whichever you'd like. Okay, so I'll hold that in place. Give that a few seconds, and then, yeah, I mean, this is gonna go pretty quick from here on out once we get these pieces together. There's gonna be, when we're gluing the sections together and forming like the bones of the project, obviously it's gonna be a little bit of a waiting game because we're gonna need everything to kind of set properly before we start putting panels on. We don't want to do it prematurely and then risk, risk things falling apart at the wrong moment. There we go. Perfect. Let's head over here, get the last one in place. Launch day is always pretty busy. I've been in here since about 6 a.m. Once we get everything developed and ready for cutting, I don't know, despite the fact that, things are a little bit different now with our partnership, I still just want to get stuff done. And I might have cut this thing poorly. I sure did. You can see that it's angled there. So I'm going to fix that real quick. Yeah, so if yours is not fitting properly, it's probably because you cut it at an angle and made it a little bit bigger than it needed to be. So just trim it a little bit and it should fit nicely. And that's what I had to do. That's okay, it happens. All right, so same thing here. Let's get the glue going on the tabs. Putting in a little, just a little thicker amount there. Uh-oh. Don't do that to me. There we go. Spread that out nicely. I want it to hold and look almost like it was 3D printed, or like it's like a plastic block or something. Oh boy, watch out, glue. Or I mean, watch out, fingers. Okay, there we go. Nudge those sides in. They should be perfectly aligned with what I'll call the lid. And that just needs to be tucked in as well. And try to make that as accurate as you can. There we go. This thing, I don't know, I mean, it's going to be pretty strong. Okay. Just rubbing some of that glue off. There we go. Seams look good. Give it a once over. Looks good. Okay, one more. And this is a big boy here. Okay, but same process, just different shape. Well, kind of the same shape, but different size. Anyway, it's hard to believe that it is that time of year again, but it is. It just kind of creeps up on you. I know it's a blessing and a curse a little bit, having the kids home all summer and moms stay at home. I know that she's going to be somewhat relieved to have them back. And I found out that, and correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm making this up. I don't think I am. I think I read this somewhere. But summer break was kind of invented back when we were farmers so that the kids could help out on the farm. I could see that because, right about now, well, I would assume that they would have gone back later than like mid-August, because I kind of feel like there's a lot of harvesting going on in August and September, especially in the Midwest. Maybe that's different in different places, but I thought it was interesting. Boy, how the kids lucked out, because now, it's like pulling teeth just to try to get them to clean their rooms. Where before, they were, who knows what they were doing, working the fields, feeding the animals, things of that nature. Part of me kind of misses that. Not that I ever experienced it. I never did, but I think there's something about it, something cool about it. At the same time, it can be very scary, especially if you have a year where you have a drought or some disease comes through and kills all your chickens. I don't know. We all we do, I think, as humans is just kind of change and swap our stressors. So it's hard to say which one would be better. All right, so let me take a look at these and make sure I cut those okay. Looks all right. Let's go ahead and finish this one up. And this one's going to take 2, and that fit in there nicely. And let's get the other one. Pop that in. Beautiful. All right, let's check it, make sure that everything folds in nicely, and it does. And let's close it up. Okay. And the last one. Spread that out nice and thin all the way to the edge. There we go. And close it up. Flip this in and just run it all the way out to the edge of this side here. Tuck those sides in nicely. There we go. Okay. Looking sharp. Okay, let's take a look at our seams. Beautiful. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to build the locker now. And I'll show you how it all works here in just a second. Let's just kind of lay this out. We'll leave the shelves for later. These are the two thin, small pieces. We don't need that right now. Okay, so here's how it's going to work. The top and bottom, okay, that's going to go like that. And this is going to go like this. Okay, and then this is going to go in here. And this is going to go in here. Okay, and the door, I'll show you how that works later. We don't need to worry about that right this second. But this is where we want to, we have to be just kind of careful. Okay, I think the best thing to do here is, well, first off, let's start with deciding this is going to be facing out. Okay, this is the part that's already pre-folded and connected. This is the part that we connected, and I'm going to look for the sections that were already connected here, and we're going to use our table to kind of help us with this. All right, so what we need to do is we're going to glue the bottom on first. So you can go a little bit thicker with the glue here because we need it to be nice and strong. You could try using hot glue. My concern with that is that it is a lot thicker and it may kind of add depth to the piece, which may make the panels not work properly. Okay, so I'm pushing this down to make sure that it's level with the surface. And then what you can also do is lay it down this way for a second, and then lay it down this way for a second so that everything should feel nice and flush. Okay, and to me it does. So let's be patient while that sets. Okay, just like that. And then what we'll do next is we're going to take and we'll glue the sides in place next. We'll do one at a time, and then we'll cap it off with the top. And let's take a look and see how accurate everything is, because there might be a side that sits better. It's possible. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so I'm going to glue that on like that, which means that I need glue here along this edge as well as this edge. Everything else remains empty as far as glue goes. All right, so we're going to pop this right into place. Let's first just get it aligned, and then we'll have our table do some of the work for us. Okay, now I want you to continue to apply a good amount of force. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this down. First thing I want to do is actually put it down on like this. And I can push this down so that all of this is flush with my table. I can actually kind of hold it like this and kind of push this into the corner. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. That seems pretty flush. Okay. Yeah, look at that. I'd say that's pretty good. Okay, so we'll go over here now and put the other side in place. Go ahead and just kind of pre-check it. Make sure everything aligns nicely, looks good, feels flush, and it does. So I'll go ahead and apply glue here and here, and just very carefully pop that right into its spot. Okay, and then, like we did before, you can put that down on your surface and push that wall down so it's making contact with your table, and then just go ahead and take it and push it down and back so it's going up against this and the back, and just hold that for a few moments and let it set. There's going to be a little bit of variance in this. Your cardstock's going to change how this all turns out. But for the most part, it should be okay. All right, that looks good. That's flush there. That is looking good. Okay, so now I just need to close the top, and look at that. Super flush, perfect. Okay, look at that. All right, so we need to put glue. We need to put glue here, here, and then on the back of this. So there's that, and I'm just going to do a line of glue. I'm not worried about spreading it out to the very edge. A lot of this is going to be covered up anyway. So go ahead and pop that into place. Get that centered, and we're going to do the same thing here. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to do it from this angle here. I'm not going to use my table. I want to be able to see it because it looks like I need to kind of push down a little bit more on this side. And you know what? I think that's just how it is. I know I've seen, I watch videos on how people build houses and stuff, and that's not always like perfect either. You gotta kind of, I guess when you're working with like metal fabrication and stuff, things are probably a little more precise, but I'm gonna pretend this is wood. So I have an excuse. Okay, don't forget to push the back up against this piece too. The front feels good and flush for me. Hopefully it does for you too. And there we go. Okay. I don't know that holding it in place any longer is going to make any more of a difference here. So one thing we can test right now is our shelves. Beautiful. They fit nicely. Okay. And then really all that's left to do at this point is, well, a couple things. We can start putting some panels on. I think that's a good idea. So you can see here, we've got a panel here. That's going to go right there. I don't think there's one for the back. I don't think there needs to be. We got one there, one for the bottom. I guess there is one for the back. What is this? Oh, that's for the, that's an extra one for the door, I believe. Yep. Okay, so this small one here, the smallest one, is for the door. Okay, so we got that. This is for the back. So there is one for the back, one for the top, one for the face. And I think I'm gonna do the face first, actually, because everything's gonna center around that. Okay, so you can see, that looks perfect, actually. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, we're gonna put the face on first. Okay, that looks great. All right, so here's what we want to do. We can go ahead and begin applying glue to the entire face, especially around the bottom, or the perimeter, I should say, the very edge. Make sure you get some on the inside as well. And let's spread that out nice and thin on both inside and out. I have a feeling that I'm going to need to do some painting here. Shouldn't go there. We don't need it there. Get that off my fingers. And let's pop this into place. Okay. Take a look at that. Should be nice and flush with the bottom. Centered in the middle. Flush out to the edge. And the top. Beautiful. Press that down. There we go. If you have a little excess there, it's okay. We've got more panels going on here. It's going to cover all of that up. And that's our primary goal now, is just to get this on and make it look nice. Okay. Let's take a look here. That looks good. You can always go in and use a scrap piece of paper to kind of paint in any little areas that maybe are not sitting completely flat. And I have one little section here on the inside that I would like a little bit more glue on. And just press and hold that in place. As I say, give it a little extra TLC. Look at that gap. That is not pretty. Let's fix that. I'm just going to grab some scrap pieces and have them ready because I feel like we may be doing a little bit of this here. And that's normal. That is the nature of paper. I'm going to clean that up. And we are in store for some record heat. It's about 5 o'clock here. And you would think that it'd be cooling off by now, but no. I think that's what they call the dog days of summer now, right? Okay, hold that down. I just want the face of this is probably the most important because, well, you're going to be seeing a lot of it. There we go. Okay. Let's see here. Let's do sides next. So find the 2 side pieces. Okay, and that is going to go on like this. And we're going to glue this on so that it's right up against and should meet up perfectly with the front edge. Okay, I don't really see any gaps or anything, so that's perfect. I will actually apply glue to my paper this time instead. And if I have to, we'll go through and do a little painting if necessary. So the ultimate goal here is to, well, obviously get it aligned properly, but also to try to get this to kind of butt up to the front seam so it looks seamless. Yeah, I kind of almost want to hide it behind this edge and press the rest of it down. There we go. Okay, check your seams. All that turned out nice. Okay, there we go. All right, let's go over to the other side now. I don't think that gap is going to cause any issues. We'll hide most of it with this next piece. Get it right out to that edge. Okay. And just drop that on there. I've got a little more ink on that side. I'm going to go with that side. And just do your best to line that up. Try to connect those 2 ends so it looks nice and seamless, like they were meant to be. There we go. Okay. Check your edges. Need a little extra love there. Whoa, careful. Don't break it, Leo. I've got some little gappage there. I'm gonna go really, really thin with this. See if I can sneak it in there. There we go. And just press and hold. Yep, that'll clean up nicely. That's fine. If you do have any little gaps, just tuck a little scrap in there. And you could technically even throw some glue right on the very edge of it, on that dimension. Just be careful you don't get any on your surface. There we go. And just hold that down. Okay, I've got a little more work that needs to be done down there. And then the top and bottom are a little less important. These are probably the 2 sections that are the most important to get right. There we go. Okay. Yep, so that'll clean up nicely. We can keep on moving here. All right, so I've got a top and a bottom that I need to get in place. So that's just going to go on like this. Okay, that's very easy. Clean this up a little bit. And then, you know, the bottom, no one's really going to see it, but we wanted to be consistent with it. Just get that nice and centered. And again, try to scooch it out to the front edge so that it looks almost like it's completely seamless. It should be that way all the way around, actually. That looks nice. Cool, man. Okay, so my camera kind of cut out early. We were in the middle of putting together, or putting the side panel on. Basically, or actually maybe the top one. You're essentially just going to finish off putting the panels on each of the sides. The order that I did it in was, well, I showed you the front. We did the side, then the side, bottom, top, and then the back. You simply just apply your glue and stick it on like we've been doing. Now, another thing that was cut off was the handle. And pretend the handle's not there. This is the door, okay? And your handle, before when we put it together, you have the little tabs on there, right? But before you slide the tabs through this little slit here, there's two slits. You can see there's one slit there, there's another slit here. I already glued the top one in place, so I can't take it off. But before you do that, you have to make sure that you slide the lock onto the handle, okay? So with the lock on the handle, you can take the two little tabs and slide them through the slits, okay? And I actually was able to peel half of the tab apart, okay? And then what we'll do is you take those and just press them up against the inside, and you can press down from the outside to help those really get a hold, and they should look like that. And then we'll repeat the same process with the bottom tabs. And that's going to anchor this nicely for us. Keep everything in place. That's way too much glue. Make sure they're all the way in, spread them apart. Make sure that lock's not preventing it from going in as far as it can. And then literally you can just push down from the outside to help those two little tabs get a nice hold. Okay, so the end result should look like that. Then we're going to take this piece and we're going to glue it to the inside. That's going to hide what we just did and also kind of strengthen the door, make it thicker. Okay. So let's do that. Let's get that in place. And once we have this in place, just like we did with the little tabs, you can flip this over and push from the outside. Oh, one thing that I forgot to glue down was this little guy here. So we can get him glued down. The tiny little circular holes. Perfect little spot for maybe what's it called? Some little black pearls maybe would be cool. And I don't want to get my dirty fingers on this foil, so I'm just gonna press down with my dowel. There we go, cool. All right, so now let that lock hang like so. What we're gonna do to finish this up is, remember this thicker part at the bottom is the bottom. This is gonna slide in and we're gonna glue that to the inside, and that's gonna create our little door. Okay, so what we need to do is put glue on this entire piece that has a G on it. And I do want to get glue all the way out to the very edge of the front of it as well. That's probably more important than the back. So go ahead and do that. And I'm going to spread that out to the very, very front edge. And that is not enough glue. It's kind of awkward in my hand. Okay, be very careful not to get glue all over the place. And we're going to slide, you can kind of pop it in at an angle. Let me clean my fingers off. I'm worried that I've got glue on it. And just take that, push it up against the side. It should fit perfectly in there. Okay, and then you can put that on its side and push down from the inside to get the rest of it to really get a good hold, especially right up to the front. I'm actually grabbing the door and I'm kind of pushing it up against this edge here to really get it to set. And that is coming out nice. The lock has got a mind of its own, but that's okay. And yeah, perfect. I got that in as far as it'll go, so that is as good as it's going to get, and to me that looks great. So now you can take and put your little shelves in here. Now if you want to glue these down permanently, you can. Okay, just kind of slide them in. All right, and then what we're going to do to keep this thing closed is take, this is the, I guess this sticks to itself. It says it's A plus B, oh, you know what, I don't know what that means. Maybe it's one side is A, the other side is B, I'm not sure, but what we need to do here is we're going to put one here and one here, okay, and it's got its own adhesive on it. So you can literally just cut this with a scissor. Don't use your fabric scissors, obviously. And let's see if that's too big. That's about the right size. It's going to go right about there, like so. So try to keep them about the same size. And let's see if they stick. Yep, cool. So they do stick. I'm almost wondering if this one's not labeled with anything. I wonder if these stick. I bought the ones that say AB because I think they have different polarity. Yeah, and they do. Okay, so that's what you're going to need to do. And we'll include this in the supply list. You need one A and one B. I've never used these before. And then they stick perfectly. Otherwise, they kind of don't stay together. They like kind of connect, but they don't. I don't know how to explain it. It's like their polarity, part of it wants to connect, the other part just kind of pushes it away. Okay, so make sure your shelves are straight. Because they're pretty snug, I don't think they can really go in any other way. I'm peeling the backing off of one side, like this, attaching it to the shelf, like that. And then you could peel the backing. You can actually peel this, pull it off real quick. Peel the backing off the other side, stick it right back on that magnet, get it nice and centered. Take this one. It's just strong enough to hold it. Okay, there we go. And then take your door and press it up against those magnets right at the point where the magnets are, and voila. They should end up in the exact spot they need to be, and that one's a little off. I don't know how that happened, but it did. I'm going to very gently bring it down a little bit so it's not sticking out. There we go. And there she is. Okay. Look at that. Very cool. So all that's really left to do at this point is just add your little stickers, which again, I'm going to foam square. I kind of like this, like left open. It looks really cool. Let me grab my little stickers. And this is where you get to just make it your own. Add that wherever you want. I think I'm going to put, there's only so much room to put stuff on the face of this, so you might have to get a little kind of creative with where things are going to go, but you get the idea. I'm going to play with that later, but that is going to do it for our Locker Hero box, and I am digging it. Definitely something unique, something different, and yeah, very happy with how it turned out. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please visit us on our YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button. While you're there, hit the little bell so you get notifications anytime we release a new project, whether it be paid or free. And a big, big, big thank you for everyone that has gone over to Creative Fabrica and grabbed your all-access membership so that you can continue to, well, make our wonderful designs. And for those of you that have not yet or are still just kind of waiting, that's fine. But we do hope that you join us over there. There's a lot of great content, including ours. And if you missed it, I recently released a video showing how to utilize patterned papers with our designs, which is definitely a bonus. So if you go over there just for us, that's awesome, but know that there's a ton of stuff that you can also incorporate into your craft. So I hope to see you there. But either way, hope you had a blast, and as always, I look forward to crafting with you again.